My baits were very popular in the Midwest. Not that it helps you. That does help, Marty. It's interesting when I look at trends for me. Um, Believe it or not, I was actually kind of proud because I looked up other comparable, uh, you know, people to me, and I actually had enough data to register, which is pretty impressive, um, surprisingly. Because a lot of stuff I searched, like I looked up Randy Blockett. There was not enough search criteria to even make a, a, a Google Trends graph. So I was looking at mine, and it's really interesting because it's like lots of lots of spikes and like it's like to the top at 100 and straight down to the top, straight down. Um, and it's, I mean, for somebody my size, it's pretty good. The only thing that it won't show me is region, which sucks. But Darius, no, we could. But Thank you, Hella. I just discovered Google Trends. Have you ever dealt in Google Trends? I don't have quite enough data of Tacklecraft to show up in a uh, for regions, but it does give me a little bit of a graph for popularity and uh, timing. Um, so that was impressive. I was happy to see that. But Darius, you did. I was half-assed being facetious, but Eric and I have talked about that. Um, it would be fun. We've done it before, but it wouldn't. It certainly wouldn't be on Monday night. Daniel, what's up, dude? Uh, I don't know when would be a good time to do that. Um, we need to do a. I've got a concept for a show that I would like to do, but it would require probably um, an hour or more of guests' time to complete the show, uh, which I don't think would be terrible. But Slay Nation, just go to trends.google.com and you can search in your terms or whatever you want to look for. Um, and they'll pull you up a graph. You can search past 12 months, past hour, past 4 hours. Um, uh, Tacklecraft. It's actually pretty impressive though, dude. I'm pretty proud, honestly. Uh, what's today? The 23rd. I had my most peak performance at 7:55 a.m. this morning. I had a rating of 95 at 8:15, and then it spiked back to 100 at 10:51, whatever that means. I don't know. Uh, yeah, Marty, he's into the. I guess they get. I don't know. I don't I don't I don't think about it like that. But Eric does like his wintertime projects. We don't have really a wintertime, so there's nothing stopping me from fishing in January or February, December, because typically up until Christmas, January, sometimes if we get a mild winter, like the fall bite never stops and it just like um, rolls into like pre-spawn. So it's I don't think about it, but I know he's told me he does get bored during the wintertime because he's stuck inside. Um, Hell, I don't really know how to use it to its full potential, but it's interesting to see the data. Um, it was the same thing when I got Google Analytics from my website. That could get you could get addicted to that if you're a numbers guy. Um, you could get hooked on that because it's really interesting to see what people are doing. Um, but it's really figuring out. It takes a little bit of education on trying to figure out how to process or what to do, how to interpret the data to make it useful. Um, and I'm not that guy. I try to be. Travis Stearman, how goes it? But uh, enough about Google. Shop put Facebook. I raid my shop. I'm sure anything with raid is trending right now. Oh, is that supposed to be should put I raid my shop. Oh, FBI should put FBI raid my shop. I really don't want to put that out into the world, Kyle, because knowing me, that would be like, who's this guy? And should we raid his shop? I don't want to be on any kind of radar. There's Horseshoe. Um, Travis, it worked good even with a feather. Even Travis Stearman tried to kill the beautiful action of a Marty Burns and Tacklecraft Dreamwalker, and he couldn't even do it with a shitty feathered treble. That says something. Um, when you post on Instagram or Facebook, link a short YouTube or YouTube vid so you get more traffic. That would be smart. That would be smart. I also don't know how many people I want watching this. I like our little wad of folks. You start throwing outliers in there and it might get weird. Um, Mario, congratulations! Signed up for your first kayak tournament. I don't know how you sit in a kayak for longer than 30 minutes, but props to you, man. Props to you. That's I think that is if I were a kayak manufacturer, I would probably get as many videos as I could explaining how long and easy it is to sit in one of your kayaks. Because that's the only reason I would not buy a kayak because I cannot fathom the idea of sitting down in a kayak like this for 8 hours. Like I can't even change my brakes on my truck in 30 minutes without like being stove up and like can't walk. I mean, I would be a damn pretzel if I sat in a kayak. I feel like a stand-up yak with a 55 XI3 on it. Ooh, so I mean that's basically a boat. Um, you can stand up and do 5 mile per hour across the smooth lake. Not bad. It's not bad. What's the percentage of people that also use this same type of rig? I mean, I almost fall out of a damn John boat. I don't know how people stand up in a damn kayak. Ooh, now Daniel, we got forward thinking going on here. Kayak with a massage chair built in. Now we're talking. Fish are starting to move shallow in East Texas, says Casey. Put that in your little memory bank, guys, if that's of interest. Lots of guys here use the SS127. It's actually more stable than a flat bottom I have. Huh. I was letting the kid with me throw the Vixen, and I threw the Dreamwalker behind it. Travis, and you were able to drag fish behind the prestigious Vixen? I thought you were about to say you let the kid through the wood and you threw the Vixen. Mario, you hear anything about Jackson for kayak fishing? I don't know. I'm definitely not the guy for kayak news. I don't know much about kayak news. I don't know the brands. Howdy, Bert. Um, so yeah, probably was. Travis, was it a Gen 2 Vixen that you gave the kid, or was it a legit one? It might have been a kick knocker. Uh, South Jersey, what's up, dude? Did you see my beautiful arms? I saw your comment. Apparently, these things came with a rod. Is what I understand. Uh, oh, AJ, the reason I was looking for you earlier is because when I was farting around with Google Trends, I was looking up like bass fishing and just like fishing lures and just general terms. Um, the region of the country that was the highest in these searches was Nebraska. The Instagram stream was delayed. Yeah, I started them different times. Uh, that probably throws people off, but maybe not. Um, the newest Vixen in the Kick Knocker and White Walker. Uh, Fork came up 2 feet yesterday. Daniel, I guess the only issue with the price was that unfortunately you got to see while the Vixens were gone what people were willing to pay for a Vixen that cost, you know, for for simple math terms, $5 to make. Um, and you had people paying upwards of a Benjamin for these out of production baits. So, in theory, at $24, you would actually be getting a deal. But value versus demand, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you could have paid $100 in the last 5, 6 years, or you can pay 25 now, and you can get them whenever you want them. I don't know. I don't know. Dennis the Menace, what's up? I don't know. I think actually I look at 25 at Tackle Warehouse Omnia for 15. That's a good no. Um, Dennis, we're talking about Vixen prices. Daniel likes the value. I could agree with that. If it helps the guy collecting, I'm thinking it hurts that guy. Honestly, it's got to, because all of their prize baits, like, you know, I'm sure colors go, but my thing with topwaters is like topwaters and square bills. Like I'll pay whatever if something, is good. Um, but uh, like I would probably pay the most amount for a topwater because I feel like I've lost the least amount of topwaters in my life. Um, and then the price probably goes down a little bit as the bait dives deeper. So I would probably, as a consumer, not be willing to pay as much for a very special bait that dives 20 feet into a brush pile. Um, right? And I see that in the people that follow me and support me, uh, customers and clients of mine. They typically do not prefer, uh, you know, I, I mean, it just makes sense. You want something, you're willing to pay for something that you can go and stick your rod tip to. Um, you don't have that like secondary fear of, damn, I've got this. I mean, it's the same with the swim bait. Like if you buy a $200 swim bait, how many people are really letting those sink to the bottom of the lake and like working them over a brush pile? Besides Ben Milliken, but he can see what he's throwing at for the most part. Um, but you just need AJ's pocket knockers. I actually have a guy sending me a retriever. It's not really a retriever. It's a mini rod for hooking up an old bait caster to, and then you put your heavy braid or whatever on it, and you attach your line to it, and then drop it in, and then you can reel your line up on this little rod knocker. It's pretty cool. Um, but I think he was looking for a way to use up the excess like rod blanks he had, and yeah, he made them into little plug knocker rods, which is cool because I typically now um, use just a um, I have like this blue rope, and I have to unspool it and then drop my. I use like a hound dog style plug knocker now, and if you don't use any type of plug knockers, I would recommend it. Whatever you want to get. I like the ones on the rope with the chains. Um, those things have probably saved me more baits than I could ever imagine they would. They're great. Um, um, Reaction should do a TK AJ Vixen limited run. You get 20 to 25% profit per a bait. Starting price $250. If people are willing to pay $150 for a JDM Megabass. Dickie D, I can't believe that. All the black ones are gone. Doesn't surprise me. That's what I tried to explain to my mother. Um, uh, Dennis, was it Mike Israel? Because the guy that made this one for me is from California. Uh, I've never used that type, AJ. I'll have to trust your advice on that one. Um, Travis, that's probably I don't know the exact number. Um, I like the D2C sales. I think that's the scary thing about the internet now is that it's wonderful for a guy like me because if you play your cards right, you can work your living to not have to deal with retail and just do direct to consumer. I don't know how the who was that Alpha Angler Rods. That was their business model to just do direct to consumer. But I would think it would be a lot harder to sell a rod not being able to touch one. Um, but a fishing lure, you can at least like if you had to uh, put a swim video of a bait or like anything like that, you can certainly do that to give people an idea of what they would be buying. Um, but a rod, I would think would be a harder sell. But I think they're still around selling rods. So uh, R2C will flip retail over if anyone ever figures out how to drive traffic. Yeah. Yep. It's that was always my mission, was to just like be able to drive enough traffic to keep me happy. The more the merrier. Um, but if like the thing about like the Googans, they could probably never do retail and just set up their own warehouse and just do direct to consumer and do just fine. Um, but I guess they wanted that extra nut, and it probably didn't cost them anything more. It just flooded the market more. But I think they're probably in like they're like in the Duck Dynasty category now, where they're trying to just get as much and as fast out as you can and as widespread. So um, when the line starts to teeter, you just count your money and go. They got greedy, yeah. So like I said, it's the same with Duck Dynasty. They blew up. And they said we got to get as much stuff as we can out there in as many places as we can and sell as much of it as fast as we can. Because when the needle turns, there's no going back. D2C makes more sense for higher cost or custom stuff, for sure, for sure. How many people buy rods though without ever touching them? That seems scary. I would love someday to actually go straight to the consumer with my company. That would be awesome. Dennis the Menace. When you're selling bags of plastics, you need the volume, for sure, for sure. Yeah, because you're only making uh, a buck or some change, couple bucks if you're lucky. Especially, uh, I don't know though. I mean, if you got, I guess it all depends on. But you're familiar with the. Are you talking about Dobbins? Like you're familiar with the brand. Like you know what a 3-power Dobbins is going to feel like, and a 4-power and a 5-power. Do you order rods often that you're completely new to the brand? Oh, you're familiar with the brand. That makes, yeah. Yeah, like I would have no problems picking up a like a Max Series Powell and ordering like a 723, because I know that what that 3-power is probably going to feel like. Chris, I saw that the Carl's storefront in Fort Worth. Um, I wonder what the crowds look like on a day-to-day basis. I thought that was an interesting move. They must have just more money than they know what to do with. I don't know. I don't know. Look like a lot, but it's very. What would be the proper terminology of them? It's trying to be like trying to be kind of indie, to where it's like, ooh, everybody says retail's dead. We're gonna go retail. I want to have a retail fishing store that just have one sample of a shitload of different SKUs, and then you place an order that ships to you. Um, I don't know how I'd like that, Dickie D. I don't know how I'd like that. The funny thing is, AJ, about buying rods that you've never held, I've bought actually quite a few Powells before I had a bunch of Powells. Um, and I would just buy them because I needed something in like a 7-foot range. And I would buy the rod and then just figure out what to do with it later. But I never went under a certain power. Um, I have a friend trying to start that model that is called the Fishing Library. Dickie D, you better hurry and beat Hella's friend because he's already on it. It's a brick and mortar store, Hella. Um, Chris is going to go stop by and see what's going down at the Guggen store. Someone told me it is the Starbucks of tackle. A lot of people soliciting, not buying. Uh, yeah, I don't. I mean, as much shit as it seems like they sell, I don't feel like people would be flocking to that store. I mean, I'm probably the idiot here, but I just, I mean, what's the reason? You know what I mean? Like, what's the perk of doing it? Um, that's the hard thing about rods, man. Like, I really, really, one thing I would, do they have a Carl Van Dibble at each location? Is it a fake Carl at each location? Um, I really wish one thing. Casey said you go in there and take a dump and leave. Hey, thanks. See y'all. Um, I really think it's one of those. Where was I going with that? I think consumers trust opinion of content creators on rods they order online. Oh, what I was thinking that needs to be a thing of the past, and I don't know. Uh, like I understand why people do it, but I wish it would go away because it like pigeonholes it. It makes people not think, and it makes people not form their own opinions, and it tries to like steer the industry as to here's what you need and this is how you need to use it, which is total garbage. Um, when they put what the recommended technique for the rod is, because every rod I have, I don't know that I use any of them for anything that they recommend on the rod. Like the Cinco Carolina rig, like split shot, whatever, like 704 Powell, I throw a crankbait on it. I throw a square bill on it. Like seven, whatever, like I don't use any rods for that. Like it's so stupid. But I think you probably like kill people. Like you buy somebody buys like a medium action rod that says like Texas rig on it. They probably lose like the first 10 fish that bite because the rod's too flimsy. You know what I mean? But but to a newbie, they're like, well, this is what Boyd Duckett says a crankbait's supposed to be thrown on. So I guess I just learned to live with it. Um, Dobbins are accurate. Medium cranking rod, great for top waters. There you go. But it's a really big pet peeve of mine. I don't like the recommendations of rod stuff because I don't know. I think if you left it blank, the person would actually have to use their brain and go into the rod store and feel a rod and not be able to look on it and just feel it and be like, I think this is what I want for a Texas rig worm. But they might be convinced otherwise by reading on it and think, oh, this is for a Texas rig, and then they look at it and be like, oh, this is a frog and slop swim bait rod. Don't need that. Oh yeah, the line weights are really comical. Um, those are completely worthless because most of them are like 10 to 30 pound tests, 10 to 25. It's like, yeah, no shit, dude. Um, that's the other thing, Hella. You would need to know what kind of line somebody would use. So back in the 90s and 80s, when everybody was using mono, it didn't matter. But now when you filter in fluoro, braid, braid to fluoro, braid to mono, braid to whatever, you filter all that in. It's a different ball game. Um, another great point. Hella would use a different rod for top waters with mono versus braid for sure. Um, Dickie D says he's been with Dobyns for 12 years and I don't use any of them for the recommended use. That's how I feel about Powell's. Um, Bert, good point. He said even if you had never fished before, you could easily get the wrong rod, even if you're trying to think. Where would you go for a bass resource? Uh, I guess I'm assuming that you would have experience. So if you had no experience, how would you know? I'm guessing you would probably equally shoot yourself in the foot and ask a sales associate because they're probably just as clueless as you are. Uh, um, where would you? How would you be educated? I guess the only thing other than that would you would uh, probably have to you probably have to go off of whatever resource brought you to that rod. So whether it be maybe like a YouTuber or like a professional, I guess you would be going off of that. But yeah, I mean, if you didn't have any grounds for, I guess if you didn't have any grounds for anything, it wouldn't really matter anyway. You know what I mean? Like if you just went in blind and said, I'm going to buy a rod, like if you're that new, you'll figure it out. All right. Gray Smith has a question for the Dobyns people. Hella, which one for a 5 and 6XD? Let's see how many different answers we get. Dickie D? Doesn't Matt Robinson with the ugly stick squash approach? I'm definitely guilty of the Ron Swanson. I know more than you at tackle shops. Uh, Dickie D has two different rods for the 5 and the 6XD. He prefers the 805 CB and the 806 CB. Nate prefers the 805 CB glass. Um, he can't just run down and get one in town because they don't sell them. AJ says, as someone who managed tackle sales or managed sales associates, I can say that is accurate. AJ recommends the 736 CB. So we have we have a 6 power. I think uh, we're getting close that you should be living in the 6 power range. Now it's just a matter of length. Onaji said he loved his Powells, but he couldn't be more happy with switching over to the Shimano X Prides and Zodius. What all I ever hear about the X Prides is that they're impossible to get. I don't know. I've never owned a Shimano rod, but Hella gave you a very honest answer. He says, when I get the question about deep cranking, I tell them to call the shop because I rarely do it. Dickie D, some people argue that the cast launch of a glass is much better with those big baits and can be an old school argument. Not one person has mentioned Marty Burns's favorite cranking rod, which is the Berkeley Lightning Stick. No, I'll tell you my personal favorite. It's not a Dobyns. It is a Powell, but it's also discontinued, so you can't even find them used. But it is the 806 graphite Powell, and it is magical to throw. The Zodia spinning rods are legit. X-Pride is the best rod Shimano has ever made. Topwater, use composite rods. With composite, I use graphite for mono. It's rare when I use mono for topwater. Is that Marty's custom one that you cut to 5 feet? Somebody told me, Dickie D, that the Powell's powers did not match exactly. Like a 5-power Powell is not identical to a 5-power of a Dobyns, that there was a little variation there. So, Gray, I could get the 806. The 806, I don't use it anymore because I don't deep crank hardly at all anymore. But when I was out in Texas, I would use that 806. And you can spool your reels pretty much. I mean, you can throw them a damn mile. And they just take the load off of a big ass bait really well. X-Prides are currently produced, but harder to find out of production Powells. Sounds about right. Yeah, but a 5-power Champion is different from a 5-power Extreme, which is different from a 5-power Fury. So all the 5-powers in the Dobyns lines are still a little different. Gray, you want to get rid of them older Powells? Let me know. And if you have a 723 diesel, I am certainly in the market for that one. That's the one I can't find, and that's my favorite cranking rod. Dobyns are lighter on average, at least compared to Loomis. Do I think G Loomis rods are worth buying, or do you think there's just as good of rods for half the price? Probably. Personally, I would not look into Loomis. I would think there was just as good of rods, but I'm not a high-end rod guy. Because I don't get all caught up in the lightness and the balance and any of that kind of stuff that higher end rods would typically try and sell me on. I really buy Powells because I'm familiar with how they flex and their actions, and they've held up. So I've had Powells for like 15 years, and I keep using them, and I keep blowing guides out on them. The guides suck, but I fix them, and that's what I use. I know if I break a rod, I can replace it with a 705, and I'm fine. Good point, Casey. They all break the same. So maybe if you're a person that's into warranties, I don't know anything about warranties. Amy saved a turtle. Dick D. She left the Y off of Dickie D and called him Dick D. I think that's his new name. Looks like Bean is getting a new pet turtle. Turtle. 2 805 CBs for the DT10, a 795 DX for the Texas rig, and a 795 DX for the Carolina rig. I wouldn't buy them at full price, but AJ wouldn't trade his 873 NRX for anything. Hello, what's a 1+3s? You mean cheaper rods? Cheaper rods break easier than more expensive rods? Yes. I'm sorry, I wasn't picking up what you were laying down. Um, so, John D, don't say that. Report that comment as spam. Can I do that? Put this user in timeout. Oh, I should, John D. I should. Yeah, they're not even on the radar. So I don't know. I don't like I said, my biggest beef with Powell, whether you like, I've heard some behind the scenes stuff that, you know, makes me not a proud Powell fan, but I don't I don't think I like their new stuff. I don't like the way it looks. I like the simplicity of the old stuff. Um, I would like to have my own line of rods that were completely bare bones, black rod, black wrap, matte finish, just a little gloss around the guides, um, no writing, and maybe the only thing that it would have on it is right on the maybe on the bottom of the butt, just have the length and the power. So you flip the rod over on the butt section, it says 723. The Turtle Club's here. The Turtle Club's here.
There you go, real fast.
Oh, hey, Turtle. You gonna show him off?
Yeah, little turtle, yeah.
How you make turtles come out of their shell?
Say turtle, turtle.
He's pinned in there pretty tight. Turtle power.
Yeah,
Did he just poo poo on me?
No. Anyway, I gotta go.
Okay, thanks for bringing the turtle back.
What do you want me? Should I take him to the house
I'm taking the yayas if you wanted to.
right now?
I mean, whatever.
I got the Turbonex leak on.
Oh, we'll go get the Terminix guy. Let's see. iRod guy, no complaints. I saw the Monster Bass introduction of rods. Let's see. Feed him some sushi. I'll go catch him a tuna and see if he's into it. AJ has a request for the people. He is looking for a Tour Star 7-foot medium trap rod. Anybody out there listening, contact AJ Mindy at Cheap Bass or Horseshoe Customs with a Tour Star 7-foot medium trap rod. He will pay double retail. John D's got some Dobbins and he likes them. Been doing all right with the arc rods. See, I used to be the man of many rods where you had like 12 rods on deck and they were all different manufacturers. And that was just like, it drove me nuts. I couldn't handle that. I couldn't handle that. But it was always my dream from growing up watching Bassmasters and all these guys that were like sponsored by Quantum and just having all matching rod and reel combos. That was the pinnacle to me of like my fishing career when I was growing up, like when I got started working and like could afford to buy rods and reels. When I got like all my Powells and all my E7s, maybe that's why I don't want to get rid of them, because that was like a big thing for me to where I could like lay my rods out on deck and they were all matching. All right, we have another request. Anybody has a Gen 2 Dobyns Champion 735C with full grips, no split grip shit. 735 Gen 2 Dobyns Champion, full grip. Dickie D, is there any way that a man can differentiate the Gen 2 Champion than the Gen whatever else? Go custom and your dreams will come true. Dennis, I thought about that because I often think about if all my if I put all the rods in the back of my truck and for whatever reason closed the tailgate and smashed all the rods in half, what would I replace them with? And I was like, well, maybe I could just build my own. And I started looking and I couldn't find anybody, or I couldn't find any blanks that were cheap enough to justify building my own rods. Because I thought, you know, I've got a decent enough skill set that I could buy a rod turner and probably build my own. Oh, and the way to differentiate a Gen 2 is that they don't say Champion XP on them. So there you go. Morgan's whipping me up a custom Loomis rod. Ooh, that sounds fancy. Travis wants to know, anybody use hammer rods? He enjoys his hammer rods. That's what I don't understand, Dickie D. Like when I started looking for blanks, I was like, typically when you get into building your own shit, it's cheaper than what you can go buy. But with the rod building, it seemed like it was twice the cost of me to build a rod, which didn't make any sense. And I was like, why would I want to do this when why would I want to build my own rod when I could just go buy a perfectly built rod? Can somebody please explain to me where I can get cheap rod blanks? And I don't want cheap like, you know, Berkeley lightning rod cheap, but like just like something that'll decent. I asked Morgan about that. Dennis the Menace says you can't find that anywhere. Like, why do people a cheap blank to me would not be $100, because I feel like if you put all the shit on a rod after you buy $100 blank, I feel like then you're looking at like $150, $160 rod. And I mean, by the time you put it all together, you can go buy that. And the wraps will be perfect. But I would honestly, I would just like to take all my Powells and strip everything off of them and redo them and just have those blanks. $20 is probably a little cheap. I would think $50. Like if I could get a $50 blank, put a little bit in the seat and the grip and eyes, and if I'm sitting at like $100, I would think that if you're building rods, you should be able to build in components $100 rod that would be equivalent to a $200 rod in the store, right? They should mark it up that much from like what you could build at home. That's how everything else is. And to me, that's the biggest issue with Powell's is the guides suck. They're terrible. Darius still pulling the Fenwick card, the world class version. Those sound nice. Dennis Menace had his rod guy completely strip all the old Phoenix rods I had and spiral wrap all of them. That's fancy. Hello, what's up with that, dude? Where do these people come from? I got 12 on Insta. No, I got 9 now. I just lost 3 people in a millisecond. But YouTube is doing better, and it looks like it's a little glitchy on my end, but they're slowly but steadily learning. I think they like the YouTube view better, more baits. Yeah, Travis came over. South Jersey left YouTube and went over here. Oh, I see him jumping around. Lunchtime in Vegas. Hey, you ever eat that hot chicken place in Vegas? I don't know if Dick D will ever learn that the YouTube is where it's at. He likes the Insta. My wife gave him a new nickname today, Dick D. Dennis hasn't gone to the hot chicken place in Vegas. I don't know why, but I get hammered. Slay Nation, thanks for sticking around. I don't know why, but I get hammered with ads for Vegas hot chicken. Marty prefers Instagram. Trying to think. Why is, I mean, Gray, I am. They're over here. We call it the Mubba. It's a big balsa hybrid hunter, aka Strike Pro Bubba with a rattle. Casey, they're here. And we got topwaters. It's got that rattle, South Jersey. How much bigger is it than what? An actual Bubba? Let's look. Let's do a little comparison. Strike Pro Big Bubba. 20 bones. So let me cover up Marty's rattle. They're pretty close. They're pretty close, bro. That woolman sounds way sexier. So there you go, guys. That is that's money, dude. That's money, dude. The original. Here's one. Here's one. So let me cover this one up. And here would be the difference In the little bubble we did the first time. These were silent. Yeah. So that's the OG little one, the baby Bubba. Or as the bean would call it, teeny Bubba. Stale Cracker's got some drama going around him right now. Do tell, Tyler. That's drama, dude. Did he grab somebody's ass or something? 0.6 ounces. Let's see. 18 grams. Pretty hefty. AJ, have fun fishing. Kyle, you're probably right. I might have to make a cage match when I put the Bubbas up. That one could get dirty. Yeah, when you put hooks on it, it'll probably be 3/4. Might have been involved in a Dewey hit and run involving some pontoon boats. Ouch. Yeah, go rip on some fish for us, AJ. That stings. Dennis, I don't know what colors I'm doing. I don't know. I really don't. I haven't thought that far. I'll take recommendations. Since I won't be hoarding these, and y'all will be the ones fishing it. Y'all want red ones? Y'all want Dick D? Take it easy, bro. Nate wants a gill. Marty, how many baits are in here? How many color combinations do I get to do? We have one. Am I limited in actual colors? A little bit. So we have one vote for a gill. Chartreuse blackback, Dennis the Menace. I can already tell you that probably won't happen. Red one, Wood, Hybrid Hunter / Bubba. We call it the Mubba over here, Hall. We call it the Mubba because it's a Marty Burns Bubba. Casey, what do you want, bro? Everybody says what Casey gets, everybody gets. So the power is in your hand. Dennis, I hate painting chartreuse and black. A TK crawl? Crawls I can do. Do you have enough paint to do a whole set? Might have to do multiple patterns. We'll see. We'll see. I should. We shall see. I feel like I blew my wad on the first group because I did all the good colors. I did the foiled crawl, which was really badass. In that one. Wish I could see how beautifully these have hook rashed. Caught them real good on this one. This one's been chewed on. So is this one. But when I was fishing them, I was catching them more on this one. But Fire Tiger, Copperback gill would look sharp. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to do a gill. River Brim variant, is that are you asking in relation to Black Label brim, river brim. I could get behind that. Is that the one with like the bronzy cheek with like the chartreuse and blue? Um, Boiled red craw blue. See, I don't like doing the boiled series on the wood baits because they just don't look right to me. I don't feel like all the detail does the bait any justice. If anything, I think it makes it look worse. Um, so it would probably be some type of simpler type of you know, typical balsa looking stuff. I've tried to force the real like detailed stuff on wood stuff, and it doesn't actually look that great. Um, Mistake gill. Mistake would be a badass color in that bait. Um, have I done any mouse colors? Yeah, if you go back on my Instagram, like way back, like 6 years, um, Nate, we don't talk about that, but it would look nasty. Um, Pumpkin seed, South Jersey. I did some wake baits that were in a mouse. It was Salvador Dali inspired, um, but it was really cool. It was one of my favorite baits, and I think at the time when I posted that bait, um, when I posted that bait, uh, I had like 100 followers, so like 4 people saw it. Um, but it has very Salvador Dali esque whiskers and like very faint like fur painted. It was a really really cool bait. I need to go back probably and do like a throwback section of Tacklecraft Instagram posting to where I just go back and show people all the baits from like 7 years ago that I did when nobody followed me, and just repost those. Um, the problem with it, Nate, is that would take an insane amount of time, and then I'd have to blur them out again. Maybe I'll do one just to tease. Uh, I don't know. So I'm guessing we need a brim. If I've got 30, I could do 10 in each color, which would make sense. So I could do a brim, some sort of crawfish, and some sort of shad. That makes life easy. Uh, and the yeah, I'll probably do. I did a gill. Oh, do I want to redo that one? Let's see. Where is that bait? Dude, I've got so much stuff I never post, like a fool. Um, like I was looking back at like last pictures from last fall that I just never posted that were badass. Like I did like 30 black labels and just didn't post them. I did like a 6 cents throwback that was like a throwback to a Casey color he did. Um, I need to find that one. Let's see. No, that's gonna take way too long. Um, Nate, that's probably. I've actually figured out. I think Nate, I was thinking about that color, um, or those scales, and I was thinking about a way I can actually make them better. We shall see. I think I've got it figured out. I think I can make them better, like insane. We'll see. We'll see if I can pull it off. Um, it'll be in the 13 Fish 2023 ICAST paint colors. You're probably right. You're probably right. The old Warshed. I really don't like to put. I don't like to Gray. I don't like to put that color out there because that was like, to me, that is like the shining star of my paint catalog, and I really don't like to bring it back up because when I see it ripped off, it's going to break my heart, and it's going to probably bring up all these emotions of rage, and I just don't want to see that. So if somebody wants to go through and go back that far to find one and look at it and be like, oh, I'm going to copy this, so be it. But I really don't like blasting that color out because, like I said, I feel like it's the I wouldn't say it's not the pinnacle, but it's probably the coolest thing I've ever done. Like if you could if I wanted somebody to remember me by a paint job, that would probably be the one. You know, if I wanted to wrap up everything I'm about in one paint job, that's it. It's, to me, it's like the perfect blend of like realism with completely unnatural stylings. But believe it or not, Marty, somebody sent me a paint catalog from a Chinese lure manufacturer, and one of my pictures from Instagram was on the Chinese catalog as a paint that is a paint job that they would sell. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. But you're being complicated today. Yeah, I feel like I get like that sometimes. I did that actually last time, Gray. I didn't. The last I had a bait I didn't want to post, like the color, so I just blurred it out and posted the picture without that bait. And it's like, you're probably gonna like this. I just want it to be for those who order it, and the people that got it seem to really enjoy it. But I would actually, how weird would that be if my whole Instagram was just me blurring the picture out of baits and be like, you can see this when you buy it, and I hope you like it. If you don't, sorry, you just gotta trust me. Very true, Marty. Very true. A Warshed. I've done Warshed on balsa baits and it didn't look good. It's too busy. It's too busy for a balsa shape. I could probably do a no. I was about to say I could do a watered down version to make it look good, but I don't know. I've probably got some baits I painted in that color. I'll tell you a real good color. Real good color. And I get flamed anytime I pull it out. And it's this one. My buddy Keith calls it the light bulb. But dude, Marty, probably at some point on the bait, probably the tail section I might let slide for some wood showing. See you, Bert. Thanks for stopping in. But like I said, that is down here. That's probably my favorite color to throw. Kyle, have fun frogging, bro. Um, Send me one of your best colors for the fairy. For the longest time, Gray, like when I first started fishing the fairy when I was like 15, from about that age to probably say 15 to 25, there was a 10-year span where the only thing I threw was Louisiana shad. And it didn't matter. Like, if it was muddy, if it was clear, if it was winter, if it was summer, if it was anything. Like, I didn't have to think. And that bait caught the absolute shit out of them. Anytime. In 2 feet of water, in 10 feet of water, did not matter. And all of a sudden, it was the weirdest thing, dude. Like, all of a sudden, Louisiana shad was like, you just didn't get bit on it. Like, it was like they had like a mass exodus and was like, we've been fooled by that thing for a damn decade now by these little dickheads. No more Louisiana shad. So that's when I started throwing like chartreuse shad about Lucky Craft, and they bit that real good. But Bandit made one, Lucky Craft made one, and then Sexy Shad came out and kind of got on that thing. But I don't know. I haven't been up there. I mean, I'm sure nothing's changed, but I don't feel like those fish up there are too picky. Too picky. Certain times of the year, certain times of the year up there, they get dialed in on certain colors. Gray, you'll probably think this is interesting. I don't know if this would be on your radar or not, but you might be able to shed some light on what was going on. But we were fishing the L&L Trail, Jody and I, years ago, and we went in this creek, and we were up the Warrior. Went in this creek. We were cranking. It was, April, May, something like that. We were cranking around, and he was throwing, like Jody was throwing chartreuse and black, and I was throwing something similar, and or I was throwing a spinnerbait or something. And there was these guys behind us, and I kept hearing like fish like landing, like you'd hear the fish or hear them like scoop up a fish or something. And I was like, damn, what's going on with that? And I looked around, and they were like scooping up another one, and then like a little while later, they're scooping up another one. I was like, are we really missing this bite this bad? And about that time, it was Robert Robertson, Aubrey Booth. But about that time, I saw Roberts get on the deck and whiz that crankbait out there, and it was like neon red, orangey red, like that Bagley like OFO, and he was hammering them on that damn orange red fluorescent crankbait. And the only thing that was interesting about that was that it wasn't in April and May like I thought. It was in like late September, October, and I think it was like one of those like I thought it was the L&L, but it wasn't the L&L. I think it was one of those McKnighters. It might have been like a McKnighter championship that they had like late in September, early in October, when the bite was really goofy. But those fish would not touch chartreuse, and I thought it was an odd time of year to be throwing that color. But after that, it kind of opened my eyes up to variation, like color stuff. It's like, I would never have picked up like the neon orange bait in October, but I saw within 100 yards of me that it 100% made a difference. And those shot colors, usually one shot color is a shot color, whether it's orange or chartreuse or whatever. They just like something bright, but that day they wanted something very specific. And yeah, it was definitely one of those eye-opening experiences that you know everything you read in the fall is, oh, match the shad that are moving into the creeks, and garbage. Just try stuff till they start biting it. So uh, yeah, lucky for them or unlucky for them, when you throw a bait that is that color and that bright, like everybody in the creek can see it. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like a red flame, like it's like you're throwing like a mini sun across the lake. And that was an eye opener. Match the size in the fall. That was probably I've probably found that to be a little more true. But I also think you can, uh, if you look around enough, you can look around where you don't have to match the size, if you know what I mean. Not all shad in the lake are small. South Jersey, I didn't even know that dude was making baits anymore. Um, do they ever get off of bone or black? I've never seen them conditioned to either of those. As far as topwater goes, I mean, yeah, there's times when I don't know that they get. Yeah, I mean, there's times when they get off of bone or black and get on chrome. Um, but I mean, if you get on that bite where they're on chrome, like that's all they'll bite. Um, uh, but there are there's certain, but between those, probably not. Um, I think if you could cycle a bone black and a chrome topwater, you're probably pretty safe. I don't know what else you would throw. Um, he came back. How many people follow that and throw a shad pattern in the fall versus a non-typical? I would think a bunch of people probably throw, like a bunch of people probably have been beaten the head so many times with the shad migration and like fish moving back into pockets, and you need to throw shad stuff in the fall. That's probably kept a lot of people from having success throwing crankbaits and moving baits that are colored non-shad stuff. Because if you would have asked me that day, like, how's the crankbait bite? I would have said it sucks. You asked Robert Roberts the same thing. He said, "Oh shit, it was awesome, dude. We caught them all day. Just a color." I mean, it's probably whatever bait he was throwing. He's probably catching them on, but I don't feel like it would have made that much difference. Um, so, um, and there's different stuff that goes on. Oh yeah, Tyler, I forget you're down there in the swamp. Yeah, those fish don't care. They just want to eat. Um, they just want to eat as much and as fast as they can. Um, but I've seen lots of times, like in the fall, where like a crawfish colored bait will work better, or like something bright, or anything that's non shad related, or like a brim color. Like, you never know. Like, just because there's a bunch of shad flipping around doesn't mean that fish is like completely targeting that. Because there might be like some sort of crawfish hatch going on, or crawfish crawling around or water moving and changing the, everything changes, and there's always like a reason for a fish to not be doing what you think they are. So I think the fishing world needs more preaching of open-mindedness and not so rigid in like, here's the book of how you catch fish and this is what you need to do. You need to go to the back of the creeks and you need to follow the shad and blah blah and throw shad little stuff. No, just go fish. You'll figure it out. BBs versus knockers and why? I don't. I typically don't like rattles at all. So I've come to the conclusion that the only real significance of a rattle to me is if I'm fishing in grass. If I'm fishing trees or like hardcover, not really. I don't really care about rattles. I would prefer silent. But get me around grass, I'll look at a rattle. I think a fish that's down in a weed bed probably doesn't have enough time to react to a bait with no rattles. They do. I mean, you'll catch plenty of fish on a bait plenty of fish on a bait in grass without a rattle, but I think sometimes it helps. I don't know. I think everybody has a different opinion on what. How would they sell a bunch of shad pattern overstock if they didn't tell you that? You're exactly right, Kyle. If you need to sell a bunch of shitty shad patterns, just tell people that you need to be throwing shad patterns in the fall when it's fall time, and then all your baits are moved, and then you can start 2023 anew. I don't know if these are what the material of these beads are in the head, but they are one. How many is there? One, two. There's 3 little BBs. I don't know if they're glass or if they're plastic, but there's 3 BBs, and this is not a knockoff. This is a real one. So there is 3 little clear BBs in the head and the knocker in the tail. Yeah, that's the other thing. If any of y'all have a swimming pool and you don't think silent baits are loud enough, go get in a swimming pool and let somebody throw a silent crankbait and see how loud they are underwater. They make a lot of noise. Like it in the wind. Get behind that. What that bait, Kyle? I don't even know. I don't even know what you could get for a limited production Vixen blank. Probably a lot. We're good. Amy saw a cockroach and called the Terminex and said, "We got cockroaches." She got the house checked out and said, "We're fine." Tyler likes focusing on wind. I think sometimes we forget that. I think that's one of the the old fishing tales that like is so common that it often gets overlooked by a guy like me. When you're like trying to put like the pieces of the puzzle together and you're like, what's going on here? Like the last thing I usually think of is, oh, maybe I should go fish like a windy bank. Or I don't realize it as often. Like I probably do, but I don't think probably soon enough in the day. I notice if wind's blowing on something, but I don't process it as like being a windy area. I can I can have never fished a spot, and if the wind looks right, I'm stopping. I could see that. It's got like the perfect little ripple running up to it, and like kind of running up on the bank, and you like pull up to a point, and it's got that perfect like spook water, where it's just got a little ripple, and you can go up there and I could get that, or a crankbait or whatever. I could get behind that. Whiplash is Valley Hill. The only way to get almost silent is if you make braid hook rings. Yeah, I don't know anybody that's done that in my neck of the woods. Um, maybe I'll manufacture. Uh, maybe I'll manufacture soft material split rings. Is the fishing world ready for that? Tacklecraft soft split rings that don't open up, but they don't tap on your bait. Also come with rubber hooks, so your bait will be completely silent. Big chrome trap. How many people throw actual rattle trap branded rattle traps anymore? Savage Gear makes a hook that comes with braid split rings. I will tell you an interesting story about, and then I'll get off of here and go paint. We'll tell you an interesting story about wind and fish biting. We were fishing a tournament up at Gunnersville, and it was in the fall, and we were fishing a shallow grass bed. May or may not have been. We won't get the location, but anyway, we were on Gunnersville and we were around some grass, and it was shallow, and it was like pretty decent weather that day. Like real, it might have been in August, and it was hot and it was slick, and all of a sudden, like behind us over the tree line was this like apocalyptic black thunder boomer. And I looked over my shoulder and I was like, damn, that looks bad. Goodbye, my sweet. And I said, dude, we're about to get hammered. Me and my buddy Young. Shout out Jay Young. So we put our rain jackets on, and it was like flipping a light switch. It was one of those like summertime like hellbender storms. So it went from like slick to like tornadic in about 2 minutes. So he was throwing a buzz bait, and when the wind started, it was like I said, it went from 0 to like 25 instantly, like rollers crashing, blasting the bank, and we were pretty close to the bank, and we were fishing over that grass bed in like scattered grass. And Young looked at me and he said, Stanley, you think they can see this damn buzzbait in these rollers? Dude, he didn't get it out of his mouth. 6. Just flushes it. He's like, damn, Stanley. And it's out there just like flopping, beaver tailing. And I was like, holy shit. Dude, I scooped that one up. I get out there and throw mine out there. Bam! 4-pounder. Jumps off. He throws back out there. 5 blasts his. So we ended up, it was a 3-fish tournament. We ended up coming in like, I don't remember, like 4th or 5th, 4th. I think we had almost 13 pounds that day. 13 or 14. It was a lot. And all of them came on that buzz bait during the middle of that storm. And when I tell you there was like rollers out there, like it was rough, dude. Not to mention the wind was howling, like it was pissing like rain was like dumping. So you had the rain, you had the wind. Like I don't know how they saw it, but they did, and it was really wild. Chris Lane won that tournament actually. Uh, he had like 3 6s or something stupid, but it was really impressive to see like what they could track in that amount of wind and a bait that wasn't that loud. Like I think that his bait might have been a clacker, like it was hitting the head or the wire, but it was moving pretty good. It was a lot of noise happening on the surface for them to be able to dial into that bait so good. It it was fun, but it really, like when he said that, I was thinking, I think I told him yeah, but I don't know that I really like believed it because I really didn't like. You're looking out at like waves crashing. You're like, oh yeah, I guess it will. And Casey throws Cordell's, Booyahs, Bill Lewis, Ima, Seville, 6 Cents, Excalibur, Rapala, Red Eye, throws them all. South Jersey's throwing traps, but he's using the silent ones. The Berkeley Frenzy is a great trap. Amakatsu Piranha, I would say Amakatsu anything is good. I'm a suspending lipless. Amakatsu buzzer beater. My favorite lipless is just a super cheapo Cordell Spot, 1/2 ounce, because it fishes light. If you, I don't know how what goes on with a 1/2 ounce Cordell Spot, but it fishes like a 5/16 ounce trap. You go to Rayburn early in the year with 10 different traps tied on and throw them all till you find the flavor. I can see that. I didn't realize, Casey, it was interesting until I moved to Texas. How little has changed in Texas as far as like the bites and how people like approach fishing there. Like I did not realize how many people still threw a Carolina rig and a rattle trap, like a 3/4 ounce rattle trap. But growing up, like I would watch the like 90s Bassmasters, and like David Warden would be out there with his Carolina rig and his big trap, and David Warden was the damn boss, dude. Like I love that dude. Like when he got on him, that dude crushed your ass. And dude, I moved out there 20 years later. You go out on the lake, what do you see? Big ass traps, big ass big ass Carolina rigs. I was like, man, nothing's changed. Like these dudes are still just snatching on them with a Carolina rig and a trap. The A rig changed things. I can see that. I mean, that changed everywhere. But I was really impressed by that. Rayburn Fish can tell you the bait color and what year it was made when it comes to traps. I could see that. If you want to get some good cranks for way cheaper than over here, Ichiban. Yeah, Ichiban's a good place. Give me old school red or blue chrome. It's hard to beat those two. Casey, how far are you from Rayburn? How often do you get to fish Rayburn? Rayburn's on my bucket list. I don't care if it's fishing shitty. I don't care anything about that. I just want to go. I just want to go fish those. I just want to go fish early in the year and fish those cypress trees like Takahiro and Hackney were doing, like in the Sitco era. Tyler, that's like my favorite thing on the planet. is when like you get, I think it's the coolest thing that happens is when there's like a hot color on a lake and like local stores get it, and like the mass exodus for people to find this bait. Um, it's really a cool phenomenon that happens. Um, and it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen every year, but there are times when like a bait comes out and it like on a lake, they're really biting it, and like people just go through the ends of the world to like get that bait in that color, and it's really cool when that happens. Um, Cherry bomb, is that the color? Let's look it up. Let's look that color up. It happens every year. Oh yeah, it's like the gold with the black. I mean, dude, I paint baits for a living. Does it really matter that much on Rayburn? Like, did they get that dialed in? Nobody has caught on it since that year. That's so wild to me. You should have told me and I would have painted them for you. Last year was Newberry Crawl. Let's look that one up. I guess that was named after Dickie. I feel like they've been making Newberry Crawl for ages. I thought Dickie was with 6th Sense now. Bourbon Blaze. Tyler, why don't you just get me to send you like, can I just paint you like 20 weird ass colored traps to throw and see if we can create this? If we can get you on some weird ass color lipless bite on Rayburn, and you can just like blow people's minds, like just walk into a tackle store and be like, "You really want to see it?" And show it to them. Like, oh my god, where'd you get that, dude? I would love to see that happen. TK, you need to make a 7-day trip: Rayburn, Toledo, and Caddo. I would 100% be behind that. Have I ever heard of the Gamma Frog Poppers? They're pretty much the Spro Bronzi tuned by Gamakatsu. Heard they're really good. I have not. I'll have to look those up. Dude, I would love to be I would love to get behind one of those like wild color crazes, just because I think it would be really fun to see like the people reach out from like parts of the country and be like, hey, can I get one of these? Like be part of like the secret society that knows, and to see who finds you, and like just to be part of that experience would be fun. Oh, we could probably do it with that Jordan's color, the one that Alton Jr. won on. Pink and red shatter, killer early. I bet I could make that. I bet that Jordan and Alton Junior color would do well out there. PB came on a trap at Toledo. How's Toledo fishing? Would you make different red traps or make a new color trend on burn? No more red. It's the light bulb yellow. You could. I could probably do both, honestly. 8-inch fire crawl. So my buddy Keith was telling me about down here, like way back in the day, like on the Delta when there wasn't any grass, like when all the grass would die out, or if there wasn't any grass that year, guys would go to the places that you would typically catch like pre-spawn fish on a trap, and there would be no grass, and they would throw the same baits in the same places, and they would throw a chartreuse trap and just let it drag, like just drag it through the mud and catch them. Yeah, that methylate would be good. This one would probably work good. Maybe you could reverse it. I don't know. If you grew up fishing it, it sucks. If you don't mind scoping and if you don't mind scoping and brush piles, it's fine. That sounds boring. The banks aren't even growing shoreline vegetation like hay grass and buckbrush. That does suck. The sad thing is, everything I think I would probably create has probably been already made by Bill Lewis rattle traps over the last 50 years, because they've done so many like combinations of red that like what's even left. But I could probably think of something. I could probably come up with something. We'll see. We shall see. Maybe red with the secret scales. I don't know. It would be fun. It would be fun to find out, though. I have to pull out my like old school brain mentality. Like look at a rattle trap and like get in the mindset of like if I were Bill Lewis trying to create a color for Rayburn in the fall. I mean in the spring. Did anyone watch Bass live and listen to Austin Felix's trolling motor? Randy Blockett not going to Toledo. Too much scoping. No, Travis, you're the first person I've seen mention it. Was it loud? Like, what was the story with his? What was the story with Austin Felix's trolling motor? Or did it sound like a piece of shit? Or did he have a megaphone attached to his hydrowave? Gamakatsu frog popper. Damn, we had a good crew today. Lots of views. I don't know what the difference in today was. It's a Lowrance and it sounded awful. Lots of creaking. Austin, lube your trolling motor, bro. I guess that's what happens when an electronics company tries to make trolling motors. Decent amount flipping docks early, but I've been making trips gliding the docks and barely getting followers. That sucks. So you just go back down to the shrimp eaters and catch the brackish fish. YouTube trying to make you trend today. I guess so. They saw me on Google looking up Tacklecraft, and they were like, "Oh, this guy's trending." People are even looking him up on Google Trends. Travis, given that the the waves and the wind was an issue, I guess, on Oahe. Uh, they were probably his mount very likely could have been broken. Right, we're talking about all kinds of stuff. Crazy colors that trend on Sam Rayburn every year. Like there's one color rattletrap that seems to go crazy every year on Rayburn, and once the year's over, that trap like never gets a bite again. Um, yeah, it's the end of the year. Everything's probably starting to get beat up. And then Ray, we had a guy mention that Austin Felix's boat, his trolling motor, sounded like ass in the last tournament. That it sounded like his mount was broken. It was creaking and sounded terrible. Um, you need to put ads in your streams. Yeah, then you don't have to watch ads. I don't want anybody to watch ads. Screw ads. I have a visitor on my site from Allen, Texas. Howdy, person. Bourbon Blaze. What color is that? Man. I miss those. I miss that. I miss that. Put Tacklecraft ads in your own streams. Oh yeah, I could. Um, yeah, that's what I was thinking, Tyler. That it was really rough up there. Um, um, yeah, I can use Streamyard. It just creeps me out. Like I don't like the view. I wish they'd change their like interface to look more YouTube Studio-ish. Um, can Casey, does James still fish in Texas? He drops in from time to time. I've never seen him comment, but I see him creeping. We see you, James. All right, guys, 1:30. I got to go paint y'all's baits. Good talk today. It was a very nice flowing transition from topic to topic. But I would like to bring up the um, I would like to bring up again in volume or some amount of time the history of like trendy colors on certain lakes, and I think Rayburn is the most famous in the trap bite for like weird colors that have their moment in time, and people catch a shit out of them and then they disappear. Um, I don't know any other lake in the country that has like that same color bait bite that's very specific to a time of year and like a body of water where like the color changes. But I'd like to Rambo Red. That's a new one. What about that, Tyler and Casey? What about that albino red that like? When was the last time this color trended? Get your damn arm broke. Probably needs some brighter red dots on it, but dude, Kyle, you like that one? That's that one is just sitting here and waiting, ready to go. When the time arises, um, Tyler, does your 5-month-old will he be able to differentiate the types of rattles in each rattle bait? Here's a pretty one. Marty, I mean, Dennis, actually, that's actually a really good color candidate for that bait. I think I actually might do that, but I was talked about it. I had talked about it on other baits for Marty, and I got talked out of doing that color. But there's an old Ozark XR. Pretty bait. Go ahead and white it out. It's just my little. I think the ones that the red that goes the most under the radar is this one, and that is a really, really dark one, like getting towards like black red. For the YouTubes. Excuse me. That's a pretty good one. The paint just doesn't last on these. The Aruku. Pretty bait. Here's a little mini Excalibur I did with silver. It's like my Alabama Crimson Tide bait. I got some different looking top waters. I haven't had a chance to throw these much, but Old Faithful. Old Faithful. I can show y'all number one. If you want to see the Rattle Trap lipless bait that I've caught more fish on than any color I own, and it's probably going to come as a huge shock. It's in the old Falcon box. East Texas Fishing joined. Speak of the devils, and they shall appear. How did they know we were talking about East Texas Fishing? So it's not the XR Rayburn Red that has the damn beak chewed off of it from grinding at Logan Martin. It's not this one. No, this is the most unassuming color you would probably ever see. And I don't know if it's because I just threw it a ton, but I don't know if it was the confidence of Lucky Craft being new and me having like a $20 gem from Japan. But it is an LVR D7. And it's in this ugly. I mean, it's not attractive at all. Greenback, kind of pearly blue sides, no dot, no nothing. Dude, I have hammered them on this thing. And I don't know why. Like, it doesn't look like anything. But it's not even IU, I don't think. It's got one little micro, like, green spot. Like, there was a yellow spot right here, but I've worn through it. You can kind of see it right there. But dude, I have killed them on that thing. I don't own another Lucky Craft color, that color. You can tell this was a good one. It's got Gamakatsus on it. And I don't know why I would have ever picked that color for a lipless, but I've probably caught more on that than any red one I've ever thrown. I used to catch them. I need to strip this one. It's getting gummy. But I used to catch them the best. Not the best, but I caught them really good on the Coosa on this color. This actually fished a tournament on Lay Lake and came in second or third on this bait, the old XR, and it's just a regular rattling one, but it's just I guess it's the Ghost Shad. Nothing fancy, it's just what I had. And there's a rock pile at the mouth of beeswax, and I was like yo-yoing up through those rocks. At daylight. It's odd, but I did odd things back then. Gray, now that you're still here. So, up at the ferry during my youth, I got on a bite that was really weird, and I don't know what time of year it was. But it was fishing shallow water around reeds and such. Like you could go in the gold mine and get around some of those reeds, and they would absolutely come for miles to eat this bait. And I never got on that bait. Never got on this bite again. Unfortunately, I bought like 12 of these because they discontinued the color, and I found it. I found like 12 of them, and I bought them all because I was like, I gotta have this color. I gotta have more of them because they changed this version of this color, and I need it. But this is the color, and it is the old Rattle Trap Baby Bass. And you could throw this thing, like I'm sure this is like a thing of the past because like those clumps get destroyed now, and I don't know that they were getting killed back then because I really don't think people knew how to fish them. But those fish weren't spooky at all, and you could run that trap down the side of those clumps, and you could see like the fish just like shoot out and blast this thing. It was really, really cool. But that's that is the bait. I've probably had this bait since I was like 12 years old. Very odd. This one had 2 hooks replaced with like random hooks. This one's waiting. But Gray, on traps, you think a fish you could go in the gold mine right now and throw a rattle trap around a clump and the fish not run? I would think as soon as they heard those rattles, they would be like, nah, bro. We don't even like swim jigs. I bought this for East Texas. Like I need to go in there. Like I need to go to East Texas and throw my big 3/4 ounce red trap. How many fish have seen this at Rayburn? Man, I think fish were so boat shy in there that anything that moved would turn them off. Well, maybe I'll have to take my my baby bass trap up to the ferry and see what's going on. The old Excalibur Jimmy Houston, that was a good one. These sounded cool. They can tell you when it's a misprint. They can tell you who painted it. In my box over there, I've got them all in a rubber band in the rattle trap boxes. And I guess I was hoping that color would be trendy at some point and people would be like salivating over it. And I was like, oh, I've got all the original bass colors. Never came around. I pulled an 8 and a couple 7s this year on a chrome 3/4 ounce trap rod, tip up slow, smoked. Man, y'all got me wanting to throw a damn trap. How many people have that same one in their tackle box is a better question. Yeah, you wonder how many other people are like, oh yeah, that's the color, dude. Like if 100,000 people watch this video and like how many of those people would look at it and be like, whoa, that dude's got the juice. Like they haven't made that color in 20 years. That color is like, dude, I would give anything for that color. Oh, I got him. I got him. They look a little nicer new. I paid $3.59. $3.59. What's a rattle trap cost now? There's a guy at Toledo Bend Rayburn that has 20 of those in every size made. You're probably right. They look a lot nicer than mine. Ooh, this one is a variation, Tyler. This one does have a variation. So this is how crazes start. So if you look at the one right here, it has whoever painted it bled the green down too far, and this one does not have the green. So what you would typically see happen on Rayburn, here's the green one, here's the not so green one. You would have one guy catch them on this one, and then somebody else would go by this one and be like, it's not the same. It's not the same. I got to have the green one. So let's see how many out of this bag. That looks like it's the only misprint. What is this thing doing in there? How did a random parrot get in there? And you know, now that I look at this, all this color is a Lucky Craft copper green with a black line down the center. Like this color, you look, you take that black line off and it is pretty much copper green Lucky Craft. Maybe not as coppery, but like a good alternative. So a little stockpile of bass. Ooh, I got this one on sale. That was $1.99. I got a bunch more of these somewhere because I know I bought more than this 6. Maybe I'll throw that this year. And I don't like baby bass anything. This is the only baby bass thing I've ever thrown. Trap guys are the worst, and the worst trap guys are the ones that never catch on it. So they always chasing the dragon. I love the dragon being chased because I think it's real and like it's fun. It's what makes fishing fun. Whether it means anything to you or not, that like, you know, stuff like that matters. I think in certain situations it certainly does, but I think that's what makes us fishermen tick. What else we got in here? Oh, check out this bait I never put together. This was a very early Tacklecraft bluegill. This is probably like 10 years old. Three bars. This was when I was trying to hone my skills. This is when I was experimenting. There's a pretty good shape. Chrome rattle traps hanging out. True Life Bagley, no bill. Probably had plans to convert this to something. Don't know what that would have been. Baby Lucky 13. H2O swim bait from Academy back in the day. Had been big plans for this. Net bait Paka Swim. You want to swim this on braid and straighten your hook out? Great swim jig for you. Y'all know this guy? Cash Custom Lures out of Utah. I had him make me some jig trailers. These are the ones that stuck together. What would a guy need an albino super chunk for? What would a man need 100 albino super chunks for? I believe I have a bag in here if I keep digging. Here's a bag of baits I got from Casey at 6 cents that were like samples. Big Bandy Custom Flitter Spoons. I'm looking for the greatest color zoom chunk ever made. Just a random box with a custom shop flat shot in it. What's in here? What 6 cent stuff we got? I probably had this out before they even hit the market. Deep Provoke. Did these little ones get discontinued? I got a pretty good handful of those. The little babies. Cool looking little baits. South Jersey, yeah. I had actually, hold on. Actually, I made one. Let's see if I can find it. I made one, and Mickey at 316 made one at the same time, and I was a nobody, and I was trying to make a bigger tail spinner, and when Mickey's came out, I was like, well, if I put mine out, I'll just look like a thief, so I'm not going to do that. So it just sat here. Maybe it's over here. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the tail spinner. I've got so much shit. It is sickening. Big wood popper. I don't know why I have this here. Oh, I painted this one in the front of the bait was cracked. Carp color. Actually painted. Actually, you had a lot of guys want the carp color. I don't know where it is, dudes. It used to be sitting around here somewhere, and I don't know what's happened to it. But the Delta, Doug, I did see that. I saw they had a little derby down at Mayor Park, and it looked like 18 pounds won that. Doug, tell me what you know. Give me a report. Where do I need to go? I was going to go fishing this week, but the it's like thunder boomers every day. So, South Jersey, I'm doing a once I get done painting today, tomorrow I'll probably start trying to pour some bodies, then do another run of the glides. Cover glide, let me specify. Kyle, you get a hook in your foot. Ray, 18 pounds in the Delta in August. Yeah. Who won? Doug, you know who won? I guess it's a buddy of yours. 15 was second. No, Ray, believe it or not Grinnell. I love a good worm buffet. Gotta sneeze. That one, South Jersey wants the big giant walking bait. It looks badass. It needs a little tweaking on the walk, but I should be able to get that dialed in. Heard they came from the causeway. That would really interest me if those fish were in the river or if they were in a bay or a creek. But South Jersey a bass on this, it would look good. But I'll see if I can maybe mold that tomorrow. I wouldn't mind doing that. Ray's betting on the river running gun laydowns. Hell, Ray, I don't even know if there's enough laydowns on the river to find. Maybe there is. I don't feel like I'm a laydown guy, and I feel like anytime I go down there, I never see them. Like you might see like a treetop up on a flat, but I don't hardly ever feel like I see treetops anywhere. Like I guess there's not anywhere. There's not anywhere to trees to actually fall. They just have to get blown in. I don't know. I would like to have been a fly on the wall for a 18-pound causeway bag in August. But I will say that I think the shrimp are getting up there. I don't know how far they moved up the rivers, but I believe they're making their journey, which probably changed things. But I'm assuming those would have been some sort of grass fish. Hinkle shad's up to 900 on eBay. That's pretty funny. Thanks, Ben Milliken. What's the name of the club? All right, dudes, I'm going to paint. Good talking to y'all. Two ayahs, as my daughter would say. Y'all be good. I got to get off of here. I'm late. Bye. See you, dudes.